I believe we've gotten the audio issues solved here. It looks like just in time before the green flag as the field gets going here. We'll go quickly through our starting lineup. Jamie Wright on the pole with Ethan Fonseca Moreno, Michael Walls, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Justin Rott last week's race winner, Nicholas Bauman, Brandon Banks in 7th, Alex Schumacher with the top 10 effort. Keelan Belsha 9th, Kenneth Bueno rose off in the top 10 with Craig Lautenslager, Duncan Fall rounding out the 6th row with Chris Progar, Kyle Benson, Tony Kivett, Stephen Maggio in the 16th, AJ Green, Tyler Murray, Trevor Haley, and Curtis Kelly rounding out the top 20, Colin Forrester, Cody Spare, Christopher Bishop, JJ Hill, Michael Newbrough, Jason Hastings, Chris Fowler, Eric Schaefer, Mikey Neal, and Craig Parks, your 30 starters for tonight's race as the green flag gets ready to wave. And it's a late start there as they start bunching up. Jamie Wright at the pole position to lead them in at turn 1. So you see a car pull off to the bottom. Not exactly sure who that was all the way to the bottom. Looks like it's Brandon Banks, I believe, serving a lap 1 penalty here, as there was a couple of penalties remaining from last week. But no, Brandon Banks has disconnected, and there's a crash in turn 1. Numerous trucks in it. Looks like the 71. There's a couple of trucks are stopped there. The 55 is involved. Tony Kivett, the 71 of Colin Forrester, also getting a piece of it. You see the left rear damage there. As on lap 2, the yellow flag will wave for the first time. Let's see if we can go back as we were trying to see what happened to Banks. Exactly what led to this incident starting up. As we're here with Tony Kivett. And you see them sideways just in front. Looks like Lautenslager possibly. And then right there just barely clips Forster, which sends him around. Let's see if we could go back a little bit further. And find ourselves with Craig Lautenslager. So there's a 78. On the inside of Keelan Belsha, going into turn 1 on the outside is Kenneth Bueno. Looks like further up, yeah, just hit. He gets sideways a bit, tags Kenneth with the sliding right rear. Looks like the 17 of Craig Parks gets into it, or Chris Progarves. And a couple other trucks check up, so not nearly as big of an incident. Certainly not a lot of damage on most of these trucks. But it'll bring us under the first caution for the first time tonight. Numerous trucks on pit road already getting some damage repair. And that was a great start for Jamie Wright, as he'll lead his first couple of laps, I believe, of Rockingham. At the very least, he definitely led at least a lap or two at Daytona, as I believe we'll get the one to green here at the start-finish line to complete lap number 4. Indeed so we'll have 1 lap to green. I would just like to apologize for the technical issues there during the short pre-race segment. I was bouncing on a couple of things very quickly, and that audio check was not one of those things that got around to just in time for the green flag. So my apologies on that. Fortunately, before the green flag, we're able to get that sorted out, and we have everything in tip-top shape. Time for the main show. So hopefully from here on out, it is as smooth sailing as possible. Moreno was able to stick to 2nd place ahead of Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, but now Jamie Wright can decide when he wants to go. So we'll see if he goes early in the zone, late in the zone. We saw the green light delayed. There's not nearly as big of a restart zone as defined as most racetracks, as it doesn't have that extended restart zone, but you can kind of see it there. That white line or the 2 red lines and the 1 red line on the wall, and that gap in the middle. And there's Jamie Wright firing off. No clear away in the race lead. Ahead of Moreno, ahead of Jurgensmeyer, who is appearing to put on a challenge for second. He'll take it away before Moreno tries to fight back on the outside. Justin Rott in tow, peeks to the inside momentarily, but backs out of that as the caution flag waves again. Trouble in the back once again. Craig Lautenschlager. Looks like Michael Walls may have gotten a piece of it. But trouble for the 78. And it happened right on the restart. So here's the view from the 7 of Michael Walls. Looks like the 8 of Neil tags the wall in front of him. There's the 21 of JJ Hill. And Micah checks up here. Looks like he got hit from behind. I believe that's the 4 truck. Indeed, that's the 4 truck of Eric Schaefer. So I don't believe Lautenschlager actually had anything to do with this. So we'll have to find the proper incident here. There's Eric Schaefer. Oh boy. That did not look pretty. Let's take a onboard look here with that 4 truck, as I'm not sure exactly what Schaefer was attempting to do here. Here's the restart from the perspective of that 4 truck. He was lined up behind, I believe that's the 2 truck of Chris Fowler. Yeah, I'm not too sure. The truck didn't look too out of control there. But nonetheless, it sends the 7 truck around, putting us under caution once again. As early on in this one, it has been a caution-filled race to this point. As we'll already take the 1 to green here, some pretty quick caution laps, which I'm sure Jamie Wright at the very least won't mind the amount of laps, as I have gotten word from race control that Eric Schaefer's move was deemed intentional. Race control Charlie Beyer looked back at the incident and determined that that was an intentional wreck by Eric Schaefer, and it resulted in him being disqualified from tonight's event. It looked a bit odd on the broadcast. We never try to directly point blame or say anything out of line without having some multiple looks and having some outside references before saying anything that could be detrimental or even negatively impact the driver. But the race control has determined that it is an intentional move by the 4 truck, and he is no longer going to be participating in tonight's race. Once again, it's Jamie Wright, but with Jurgensmeyer to his outside, but it won't matter. He gets a great restart with 2 car lengths of an advantage over Jurgensmeyer back to turn 1. And look at Moreno putting on the challenge on the inside, but Jurgensmeyer will get the run on the outside, and Justin Rott will try to fill the gap. How about the run just behind these 2 for Alex Schumacher, who's driven his way already into the top 5, just behind Justin Rott and in front of Bauman and Baggio, who's done a great job of moving up through this field. As look at the move Jurgensmeyer is trying to put on Moreno as they're bouncing off one another. And Jurgensmeyer will keep second place for now. And we'll see if he's able to put on a challenge for the race lead. See a little bit further back. Schumacher now to the outside of Rott. As further behind these 2, there goes Bauman staying in front of Mikhail Benson. As into the wall, it looked like it was the 117 of Kenneth Bueno, as he drops the spot there to Curtis Kelly. Cody Spare just behind. And Ethan Fonseca Moreno now under fire from Schumacher. relatively in line. But Jamie Wright still hanging tough up front with Jurgensmeyer just behind him. And we'll see if Jurg is able to put some kind of a move on. Find a different lane, find something different to do than the 89 is to get the advantage. As we're mostly single file through the field, I believe that's Murray. That peak to the inside of Keelan Belsha takes away the 10th spot there as AJ Green will follow him through. Curtis Kelly could try and take a bite at the cherry on Belsha, who's lost about 2 spots on this lap. As sliding in through turn 1 is the whole field. Belsha tags the outside wall. And there comes Kenneth Bueno to join the fight. He's battling outside of the top 10 as Kenneth will slide up in front of Keelan Belsha. There goes Cody Spare, looking to make a move as well. Here's a battle inside the top 5. Justin Watt having the outside move done to him by Steven Maggio. So move the 51 truck up to 4th after qualifying 16th. It's been a great start for Maggio. Schumacher looking to continue to put the pressure on Moreno. Of course, has to be careful he doesn't burn the tires off the race car, but if we keep getting these short runs, it could possibly work to his benefit, as I believe that's Tyler Murray looking to the inside of Duncan Full, blinking out there. Unable to see the 36, unfortunately. There he pops back in just behind as he almost tags the outside wall. Continues to blink out, so it's going to be a struggle to keep up with him. There's Justin Rott, Nicholas Baumann. Baumann with the inside charge, and Benson could try to make this a 3-for-1, but instead he'll choose to push Rott into turn number 1. You have to be careful with braking late for turn 1 here. You could either end up in the outside wall like Murray does further back, or the back end could step out and you can be very loose. Here's the onboard look. And look at that crossover move to get to the inside. And so get side by side with Rott. But it's going to be tough to clear him, especially with Baumann ahead. But he does so. Or no, there goes Rott fighting back on the outside. So great battle here inside the top 10. The battle for the race lead appears to be on. Jurgensmeyer's to the outside. And he'll have a great run here down the back straightaway. Can he clear? He'll drive it in deep in the middle. Oh, and Wright is going to slide up a little bit, has to check up, and Jurgensmeyer will take the race leader. Here comes Moreno now for second. But that outside lane, it's going to be a little bit easier job for 89 to keep his spot. But eventually Jurgensmeyer, with saving his tires just that little bit more possibly, waited, was patient behind the 89 and pounced. Soon enough it'll be the rest of this top 5's turn to get past that 89 truck, as it looks like Maggio gets a great run to the inside of Schumacher. At the same time, Moreno's to the inside of Wright, puts his left sides below the apron for a moment. They'll clear each other, but there's side by side for 4th. Schumacher on the outside of Maggio. And Maggio will take over the 4th spot. And he'll look ahead to Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Those two battle each other a ton of times on the racetrack for a multitude of race wins. And we'll see them duke it out this time for a spot in 3rd place in the first handful of laps in this race. There's Michael Walls after his first couple of incidents on the opening section of this race to the inside of Cody Spare. This is a battle for 16th spot. There's Colin Forrester, received some damage from that lap 2 incident. And further up the road, there's Kenneth Bueno getting back up to the 12th spot after having the issues on that lap 2 incident, but also not having the most ideal restart. Fell back to 15th, and he is now up to 12th. So it looks like Stephen Maggio and Ethan Fonseca are now starting to duke it out for that 3rd position. But that turned into a huge run on the outside in the 77 Telcel truck. Side by side and ahead of Jamie Wright. Now that leaves the 89 and the 51 to continue to battle. And you can see there, he'll clear for a moment, but Maggio's able to drive it in so much deeper. And he clears for 3rd, well before the corner exit. Wright just doesn't have enough to fight. So that 51 truck moves up into 3rd, your pole sitter. Moving down to the 4th spot after a great start. But just unable to keep up the momentum. There's, I believe, Benson now under attack from Justin Rott. He fell back the first handful of laps, but has kind of equalized in this part of the run. And now they're side by side for position here. You gotta be careful going up the track in turn 1 as well. It could easily see you going into the outside wall. As here's a battle just inside the top 10. Duncan Full in the 16. Able to take it away from Tyler Murray, and Kenneth Bueno will follow through. So in this longer run, Bueno's done a decent job of keeping the tires under him, keeping the pace as Fall drifts up the racetrack. Here's the onboard look from Kenneth as he peeks to the inside. Nothing doing there. Such a huge run the outside lane is able to get. As you see here, the top 3 have pulled away from Jamie Wright. There is side by side for the 6th spot. That's Bauman, who was side by side with Rott. Now all of them catching up to Schumacher as they'll go 3 wide down the front straightaway. Rott will send it on Schumacher. They'll make contact and drift up the racetrack. Benson trying his best to stay out of it, but that unfortunately will not work out for Schumacher. As look at the contact between Nicholas Bauman and Justin Rott. They could not separate. Made some contact and hell of a job of saving onto their race cars as Justin Rott now will be under attack from AJ Green. Let's take a quick look back at that. What a moment. It all started off of turn 4. Right on here with the 76, last week's race winner. Drives it in deep, and this is what we were talking about. Got to be careful drifting up like that. It was 3 wide, then right about here, I think he tries to drift up, doesn't realize how much he's going up, and caught a little bit of Nicholas Bauman, fortunately for both of them. They were able to keep it going. But this has induced some more battles, as there's Duncan Fall and AJ Green now behind Rott, Bauman. As at some point we did have a change of the race lead, and Rendo took it away from Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, who's fallen back to 3rd, and it is now, once again, Ethan Fonseca Moreno and Stephen Maggio on pause because the yellow flag is out. No indications as to the reason for this yellow flag. I don't see anybody particularly stopped on the racetrack or down the running order significantly. So we'll attempt to find something that could have resulted in this yellow flag. very curious one because I cannot see anybody that went sideways at any given moment, really. It certainly was something that happened on the front stretch. I do see some smoke. And indeed, we appear to have found it here. Is the 32 of Cody Spare getting hit off the corner. I believe that is the 78 of Craig Lautenslugger. An incredible save by Cody Spare, but I guess that triggered a race control yellow flag. That was a sneaky one. Definitely made it difficult for me to find. But nonetheless, that'll put us under the yellow flag for the third time tonight, as it does mean we will have our first set of pit stops for tonight's race. And there's Maggio staying out, and the rest of the field is in. Oh man, 38 laps out there with a couple of caution flags, albeit, but an interesting choice for the former runner-up position driver to stay out on the racetrack. Will be the only driver to do so. We do have 4 additional sets of tires for tonight's race for everybody, so we'll see here the battle off pit road and then catch up to your proper time. As it is Ethan Fonseca, Moreno, and Jurgensmeyer, the first 2 off of pit road. As like Jamie Wright will beat out Kyle Benson for those spots. As there's Steven Maggio, who stayed out on those old tires. Only driver not to pit in this race is the driver of the 51. It'll be interesting to see how this restart works out for him, and if he's able to catch a break and then bolt on those new tires as we've gone a third of the way through this event. Pace truck exits pit road. Steven Maggio in control, fires away, gets a decent launch. It'll be Jurgensmeyer and Moreno side by side for second. And look at the difference the tires make. Jurgensmeyer able to drive right up to him, but he gets sideways in front of Moreno. Moreno spins.
Right, man. Caution is out. Caution is out.
Another driver gets a piece of it, Mikey Neal, with big front end damage. And you saw that happening right there. Some real big front end damage as well on Moreno's truck that could really alter his chances of winning. That left front tire bent. Some broken suspension there on the 77. It has not been an ideal start to the season for Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Let's take a secondary look at the incident. You were kind of able to see how it unfolded. As there's the look from Moreno, with Jurgensmeyer in front pushing to get to the inside, gets loose, saves it. Moreno gets into the back of Jurgensmeyer, but then gets hit, and Mikey Neal, unfortunately, gets into the back of Moreno there. Let's get some additional looks at this. Here's the onboard from Jamie Wright, who was behind Moreno in this incident. There's Jurg loose. Moreno there, checks up into him, and nothing Jamie Wright can do. And under this caution, Steven Maggio has made his way into the pit lane, so he has gotten rid of those old tires, but he's lost the track position. Here's the view from Mikey Neal, who was side by side with Kenneth Bueno. There's the incident going on at front, and it looks like he gets hit as well. So 2 instances of drivers getting hit from behind into this incident. It appears that it's the 71 of Forrester that gets a piece of Mikey Neal to send him into this crash. Here's the checkup, and there's the hit. That's Forrester sends the number 8 truck into the incident. And unfortunately, there is the stricken 077 machine of Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Unfortunate that he will not be able to win this race. Has already gone multiple laps down and has some significant damage to his truck. Nothing that will DNF him from this race, but certainly not ideal for someone who is going to be a contender for this race win. He's going to have to wait another week. On the front row this time, it'll be the 0 or the 00 of Jonathan Jurgensmeyer and the 89 of Jamie Wright. In that second row, Kyle Benson. He's been pretty quick here in the past in a couple of different leagues. Look out for that 38 as we're into the restart zone. And the spin of the tires by Jamie Wright with Jurgensmeyer getting away well. A couple cars tagging of the outside wall as Benson now to the inside of the 89. Misses the bottom though. Schumacher will attempt to get to the outside of Benson. Trying his best to stay there, to be aggressive, and he's doing a good enough job at it. As he is there on driver of the 38. As now they're side by side for the lead. There's the run by Jamie Wright on the outside. New race leader. And look at Nicholas Baumann all the way up to the very top side with a great run. Tags the outside wall. And he'll have to hold off Benson for another set of corners. But Schumacher now with a great run, continuing this forward momentum. He'll go side by side with Jonathan Jurgensmeyer for second. He'll take the spot away for the meantime. There's Michael Walls with a great recovery drive to get back into the top 10. As Baumann now peeks to the inside of Schumacher after clearing Jurgensmeyer for third. So a lot of action in this top 10 as AJ Green tries to move into the top 5. Benson with a great run on the outside though. A lot of good racing up and down the field, especially from fourth on back. As Green continues to try to hold the outside lane here. Walls will now do battle with Jurgensmeyer, has fallen all the way back to 7th. Not sure how much that rear damage could be hurting that 00, but it shouldn't be a lot, but he is off the pace, struggling. As Kenneth Bueno will get into the back of Jurgensmeyer and spin him. Into the inside wall goes the 117. Around goes the 00 of Jurgensmeyer. No caution. And there it is. There's the caution flag now. Trouble for the 117 and 00. You saw it live. But we'll get the secondary look up and ready. As you were able to see, the 00 was struggling for pace there. And then right here, I think Kenneth thinks he's going to go up higher on the racetrack. Tries to peak down low, but it's just too late. Hits Jurgensmeyer enough to send his car to the inside. Luckily, it looks like it's a relatively slow speed impact. But nonetheless, it is going to hamper Kenneth's race, as he'll join the queue up. With Alexander Schumacher now taking over the race lead with a couple of cars on pit road here. Going back to, I believe, Mikey Neal, so a good number of cars towards the back end of the field as most of the top 20 has stayed out here. We don't have that many drivers available to talk to during this race, but one of those that we do have available to talk to tonight is Kenneth. And unfortunately, with that incident, it's not for a good reason. And Kenneth, we saw that incident there at live during the show, and it looked like it was just a little bit of a misjudgment on your part. Walk us through that incident.
Yeah, it was just my fault. I mean, it's getting a good run. I've been running the bottom the entire race, and then had a good run on Jurg. I don't know if he got loose or anything, but yeah, it was me being coward. I could have easily taken it 3 and just created a lot of space, but I was trying to figure out where to go behind Jurg, and I was already going faster, so I already just slammed into the rear bumper, and then the angle was going to turn him to the right. So all my fault there, just being a coward, not taking it 3 wide instead of uh, I doing what I did. I could have easily taken a better route and made no caution happen. So
And how has the opening set of laps been? We're already past the third of the way through this race, and we've seen a lot of great racing. So before we go green here, just kind of give us your 2 cents on how the racing's been.
it's been good. I mean, I think I would have wished for a hotter track temperature, but for what it is worth and for what Rockingham is, it's been a great race. I think that long green flag run shows you just how versatile this track is and just how good the drivers are. So I'm glad we got that in. The tire wear was big, so that was fun to manage them over the course of the run. So it's been a good race from Rockingham. Hopefully we can try to recover here and just have a great race from here on out.
Thank you, Kenneth. We appreciate the time, and hopefully you're able to recover in this race.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's Kenneth Bueno, owner of the series. Fortunately for him, it has not been a good night, being involved in a couple of incidents. Not ideal for him, but what is ideal is for the 68 to be leading this race. Alexander Schumacher will take us to the green flag, and he'll check them up as they start stacking it up. And Jamie Wright, and they spin. Michael Walls, Keelan Belsha, numerous cars stacking up on the front straightaway. Numerous cars are parked in it. You see right there the 36, the 2, the 14, the 51. Kenneth is in this one as well. Michael Newbrawl, Cody Spare, Craig Lautenslager. Oh man. Gonna be a lot to unpack. But you can kind of see where that started on the restart. As we'll attempt to get a couple of multiple looks here and just kind of make out exactly what happened, though we were able to kind of see where it started with the 89 of Jamie Wright. So we were coming to the green flag, and Schumacher's the control car. He does not fire first. Jamie does, and then he spins the tires after getting hit by the 38. Walls gets a piece of it, and then numerous other cars stack in. Let's see if we can go on board with the 7 truck. So here's the 7 of Michael Walls. You can see that whole outside lane. Actually, we're on board with Trevor Haley here. As the trouble starts happening, he's able to dodge it. Belsha gets a piece of it, though. Here's a look from Walls now. And he tried to go to the 3rd lane. That gets him a piece of it. And then they stack up behind. And just not a whole lot of where to go. Just the entire track got blocked, it seems. As we'll attempt to get a look here from above. Incident happens ahead. The checkups, there's the cars hitting one another, and it becomes a parking lot. As, oh my, the rear of that 117 getting lifted up into the air by the 32 of Cody Spare. A wild incident here at Rockingham that will really shake up this field. A lot of the contenders, a lot of the fast trucks we've seen in this race have had trouble, have had some sort of issue, and we're still not even halfway through, so it is going to be a long one for a lot of these drivers and their hopes of trying to make something happen of this race. There's the green flag. Great restart for Alex Schumacher as they'll be side by side for position further back. There's Duncan Fall and Benson, Justin Rott, Colin Forrester. And there's AJ Green now trying to take the second spot away from Nicholas Baumann. As Schumacher has nearly a 6/10 of a second lead. How about JJ Hill in the top 10 for the first time tonight? And so much damage as a good portion of the field has that there's a gap from really Jurgensmeyer on back to Tyler Murray. That Murray sits in 12th. A couple seconds off already. And even from there on back, it's relatively scarce. The gaps from individual positions back to Chris Bishop, Chris Fowler, Michael Newbrough, Craig Lautenslager, Mike Neal, Keelan Belsha, Stephen Maggio, and Kenneth Bueno who round out the top 20. There's a battle for 23rd. 23rd. Lautenslager, or excuse me, Jason Hastings going by. There's walls to the inside of Spare. The front end damage still. There's almost 3 wide back there with Duncan Fall, Trevor Haley, Colin Forrester just inside this top 10. And AJ Green is slowly but surely starting to reel in your race leader. The gap grew to nearly 7/10 of a second, but as it stands right now, Green sits at just about 3.5 tenths behind the Shoei Sportsbook number 68. And you can see just how much he closes in on that corner, nearly a tenth. So Schumacher either saving his tires or just not able to match the pace of this 75. He certainly was able to do a lot better of a job there in 3 and 4, but in 1 and 2, the 75 does a better job of rolling the bottom, carrying more speed. But Schumacher changed his line. He ran that bottom, and now he's able to kind of fend off the 75. That's worked for him for now. As we check in on that battle, just outside the top 5, Justin Rock, Curtis Kelly. This all peaked to the inside momentarily of Kelly, almost going onto the apron. Able to do much there. As Murray has caught up to the back end of the main top 11, looking to get past the 21 of Justin Roth. Murray will peek to the inside and try to take the spot away, but he'll drift up a little bit on those bumps. He'll stay off the 21. And that's what makes the inside pass so difficult here at Rockingham, is just those bumps. And that car on the outside able to carry so much more speed with the slightly progressive banking. He'll rub a little bit with JJ Hill, who ends up giving away. And he'll fall back down to the 12th position as Christopher Bishop will now peek to the inside of the 12. But the top 2 have put a gap on 3rd. It is all Alex Schumacher and AJ Green out front. And how about Alex Schumacher? Has had a solid start to his season with his one of his better finishes on this channel, coming in at Daytona with a podium effort. Right now, around the halfway, almost at the halfway point of this race, has already led 20 laps and is maintaining that gap with AJ Green, is pulling away from the 3rd place spot. So as of right now, the Michigan native is looking to take that Wolverines energy, channel it through tonight into this second half, and see if it is able to contend for this race win when the time's right. Already under a green flag run here. those tires will start to fade and searching for grip will matter. As you saw, Green was pulling into the gap, and now Schumacher is slowly driving away from the 75. Changed his line, was able to adapt, and has since then put on half a second on AJ Green. Have to go 2 seconds back to Kyle Benson, who sits in fourth comfortably. As there's the battle between Duncan Falkirk's Kelly into turn one. Further back, Trevor Haley, Colin Forster nearly making contact for the 8th spot. As Jurgensmeyer will sit back, trying to figure out what happens here. Forster will take the spot away from the 12, but Haley will attempt the crossover back to the bottom. As Murray goes way deep, hits the wall. As Haley ends up losing the spot to Forster, Jurgensmeyer will now go by on the outside. As nearly contact there made just in front. As there goes Jurgensmeyer now to the inside. As there is Trevor Haley getting hit by Tyler Murray. As Murray once again just driving too deep into the corner. This time, instead of hitting the outside wall, hits another race car. And now JJ Hill will look to the inside of the 36 truck, who is struggling for grip out there. And connection. As Forster remains ahead of 00. There's continues the battle between Curtis Kelly and Duncan Fall. Numerous drivers getting into the outside wall. Some are turning it into an advantage. Could possibly see that being a post-race situation to look at. As Jurgensmeyer now to the outside of Forster. Looking to take the 8th position away from Colin Forster, Jacksonville, Florida native, and he'll do so. There's JJ Hill continuing to battle away with Tyler Murray. Both those two have not been able to get away from each other in the last couple of laps. Murray just struggling with these corner entries, tagging the outside wall, getting damage to his right side of the truck, and he'll slam the wall off of turn 2, makes contact with JJ Hill as he blinks out, remains ahead of the 21, and this could get feisty real quick between the 36 and 21's truck after Murray slammed the wall off the corner and JJ Hill had nowhere to go. Murray up the track as well. They'll be 3 wide. This time JJ Hill stays off of Murray, but now Christopher Bishop is trying to take the twofer. Christopher Bishop will hang on to 11th for now. As further up, I believe Trevor Haley had a moment off the corner. He lost a good bit of positions and time. But Curtis Kelly and Colin Forster now doing battle for the 8th spot, and Jurgensmeyer ahead in 7th. And all the while this is going on, Alex Schumacher is continuing to open up the gap. He is up to nearly 7 tenths on AJ Green and a 1.3 seconds on Bauman, but the fastest truck on the racetrack is 4th place Kyle Benson, who's cut the gap to Schumacher to about 1.6 seconds. If this race goes green, they are not able to get to the end on fuel. They'll have to make a pit stop at some point, whether it be under the caution flag or the green flag. So we still have a long way to go past the halfway point in tonight's race, but at least till now, it is looking real good for the 68. And for Kyle Benson, who's continuing to chip away at the gap, that time nearly a 10th quicker than your race leader. And I'll toss in Nicholas Bauman as well. He's also looking pretty fast. They'll have to get past AJ Green, but they're looking awfully competitive at this point in the race. As there's Bauman and Benson all starting to accordion up to the back of the 75 of AJ Green, who's not an easy pass. He's proven that many, many times. And on this long run of the night, with all the damage all these trucks have, with how separated everybody is, it could come down to a green flag pit stop when you make it. That could determine the outcome of this race. And if we continue long enough into this run, lap traffic, we talked about how many trucks have damage. That means they'll play a factor when they get lapped eventually due to the fall off in pace. That won't be an immediate threat now, but in about 15 laps, they could possibly catch Mikey Neo, Craig Parks, and Jason Hastings, the first among, as there goes to the inside, Nicholas Baumann for second. He'll slide in front of AJ Green, who tries the crossover attempt, but just does not have the grip to compete. AJ Greener will move down to third, with Nicholas Baumann up to second, chasing down his KBueno Racing teammate. And Justin Rott is slowly creeping up to the fight as well. Benson will look up to the outside and try to get a run on AJ Green. And they're now starting to quickly catch up to Schumacher, so this is the tire difference right here playing a huge factor for the 88 and 38. Benson with a solid run here. He'll get to the bottom, nearly makes contact with AJ Green. Justin Rott sitting back. Does he take it 3 or does he play it patient? That's something we saw not work out great for Kenneth. He was indecisive, resulted in that contact with the 0-0. And look how close he gets. What a battle. As those two continue to duke it out, now Justin Rott will jump to the outside of Benson. So Benson having a tough time getting past 75 of AJ Green, as Nicholas Baumann continues to close the gap up front. Alex Schumacher tried to adjust his line, tries to adjust his pace, as Rott sends it in too deep. He'll tag the wall, and he'll lose the spot. As there's the gap between 1 and 2. Nicholas Baumann and Alex Schumacher. Baumann, look at the diamond. As Schumacher nearly tags the wall, they're going to catch up to one of their teammates who's a lap car in Mikey Neal, who stays up high here. Schumacher will try to leave him the gap. He'll catch him on corner exit. That's not an ideal spot. That should give Baumann a run. Baumann will play it patient. He'll sit behind the 68. All over the back bumper now as they approach turn 1. He'll peek up high, nearly get into the outside wall. He'll try the crossover move here out of turn 2. He has the momentum. To the inside he goes. They are still pulling away from AJ Green, who sits in third and holding on to that spot with dear life, but Baumann unable to get past Schumacher there. As the battle for the lead simmers down a bit, and the battle for third continues to rage on, as Duncan Fall in 6th spot is starting to close in into this fight just behind the lap car. As there's Benson turning AJ Green off of turn 4, hits the outside wall, and that'll bring us under caution with 60 laps to go. They came close to making contact numerous times. And finally, Benson and Green make contact off of 4. And that'll end our longest run of the night. Here's the look at it from Benson, who made contact with him on corner entry. Tries to diamond it down. Green trying to be defensive. And you heard it right there. Never lifted. Did Kyle Benson. Was fully committed to being on the inside, which he was there, and AJ Green just covered it off a little bit too late. As we have pit stops here. Crucial pit stops for this track position and race lead. Getting in and out of your pit stalls will be very important. As you see everyone making their way into their stalls. There's the exit of the pit lane. There goes Schumacher. He'll be the first one out with Bauman in second. Benson third. Duncan Fall cruises up to fourth. Good stop for the 16 machine. AJ Green will slide down to fifth. Jurgensmeyer up to sixth with Forster seventh. Curtis Kelly will lose a couple spots. The biggest loser, the 76 of Justin Rutt, who does appear to have a pit road penalty as he sits in his stall. So unfortunate trouble. We were talking about not making mistakes on pit road. And Justin Rutt, who's inside the top 5. Last week's race runner, not going to have an excellent time trying to make up after this one. We'll see if we can grab a quick word with Alexander Schumacher. Try to make this quick before we go back under the green flag. But it has been a legacy run, if you will, for Alex and Shuey. Before we go back green, just kind of give us your thoughts on this race. These caution flags are quick.
Holy cow, man, just unbelievable. I've been able to pick up what the fast guys have been doing, using it to my advantage here. That bottom seems like it's the best way to save my tires. Didn't really have speed at the end, jumped up in the outside lane, covered Nick off, and it seems like I had the speed. So going to do everything I can, pray to God I get a good result, and it's been a great run so far. Unbelievable, did not expect this tonight. Just going to put it all together and hope for the best. We
have just under 60 laps to go, Shu. It's been a great run. Keep it going. We'll see you here before the race is over.
Thank you.
Alexander Schumacher, race leader, and you can tell right there in his voice, this means a lot. This is a huge opportunity for him to capitalize with all the trouble to the top runners, that this is a possible win on the cards for the Michigan native.
Green, green, green.
The pace car hits pit road, and we're back under green. It's a great start, though, for Bauman as they head back to turn 1. Once again, we talked about how many damaged cars fall. Dancing sideways, tags the outside wall. Jurgensmeyer will peek to the inside. And Bauman now has to fight off second. Benson gets sideways in front of him. They start squirreling around as Schumacher now has a healthy lead after lap 2. Jurgensmeyer now peeks to the bottom of Bowman. Cold tires can be tricky, and they're proving difficult right now as everybody is sliding off these corners. As AJ Green continues to try to hang on to that third spot, even after spinning. But he was able to get it going with relative enough quickness that he didn't lose spots. So, no EOLs, no back of the line, didn't have that much damage, and he's able to fight from where he was. As Benson clears for second, 0.8 of a second behind Schumacher, who's been putting qualifying laps out in the front. Has to be careful, though, of course. You can definitely burn up your tires doing that. As Bauman's ready to put it on with Kyle Benson for the position. Looking back from the 38 truck as he attempts to make these tires last. That could be the possible final pit stop. It's possible that we can get to the end of this race on fuel. It'll be very tight, and with the lesser amount of cars in the field, with how strung out the field gets, it's not out of the question that we can go the rest of the run without another sight of the yellow flag. But it's clear that's not what the race leader is thinking of. Continues to be 0.2 of a second quicker than the entire field. He definitely wants to put a gap on and not have to worry about racing anybody for a while. As Jurgensmeyer and Forster now go side by side. Just outside the top 5. There's Justin Rutt, who had fallen back after that pit road penalty, has quickly climbed up to 8th. So good recovery effort building here for Justin Rutt. Get back up into the top 10. Craig Lautenschlager, after his fair share of early troubles, has climbed his way back up into 10th. How about Keelan Belsha? After being involved in a couple of incidents, that's some pretty big front damage there. in that AutoZone Dirty South Racing Toyota truck. Will sit in 11th with his teammate JJ Hill just behind in 12th, trying to stave off that 14 truck. Christopher Bishop. Kenneth Bueno here struggling with the damage to the front end of his truck. Sitting behind Jason Hastings inside the top 20 right now, rounded out by Craig Parks. And it's been a troubled night for Stephen Madge, who got involved in that big incident. Has some pretty big front and rear end damage. And he sits one lap down. If he gets another caution, he'll be back on the lead lap, but that truck clearly off the pace, not where the Cairo, New York native wants it to be. But he is obviously sitting here running these points with this short regular season. The points will matter for regular season standings and where it puts you when it comes down to seeding for playoff time. It is not an elimination playoff format. It is a 5-race, get as many points as you can in those 5 races that you can to determine the chase for the championship. And if you can give yourself as many possible playoff points at the start, that is a huge advantage. As second and third have pulled away from the field. 2.5 seconds off your race leader. Bauman nearly tags the wall as Forrester gets up into 4th, ahead of Jorgensmeyer and AJ Green. Speaking of Green, there's the pass by fall, or the fend off, as Rock sits now in 8th. Curtis Kelly a little bit down the order, down to 11th. That moves to 78 and 18 up into the top 10. Oh, and there's Kelly sideways into turn 1. He saves it, and he'll lose another spot to JJ Hill. And here comes Christopher Bishop to make things worse for him. Is it all going away here late? The battle inside the top 5 continues. Jorgensmeyer and Forrester. This 3-way fight between these 3 trucks here with just under 50 laps to go. Jorgensmeyer will peek to the inside now. And he's been patient. He has shown patience here as Jorgensmeyer. And this is the style of racing he's talked about that he has succeeded in when talking to us in the booth. That he's just able to pick and choose his battles and know when to fight, when it matters. And right now continues to hold on to 4th. All the while, how about Alex Schumacher, who's driven up to over a 2.5 second lead on the field as we're approaching 42 laps to go. He definitely drove the wheels off that thing to get that big of a lead, but does he have any tire left in the final 40 if no caution flag were to wave? That time, him and Benson were even after Schumacher had been running multiple tenths of a second clear. So he's got to be careful, but he certainly has the track position to work with. And what has been a dominant night for the 68 after changing his strategy that kept him out of that massive wreck and having the speed. That's the other part. It's not just being able to do that strategy, but having the speed. He's a handful of laps away from guaranteeing most laps slid in this race, but he'll probably get it anyways with 40 laps to go. 63 on the night after starting just inside the top 10. But he's got to think about those tires because slowly but surely Kyle Benson is slowly starting to run some better lap times. He's been patient with the throttle, been patient on the bottom. He's shown that he can run the top. But can he rise when the pressure is at its highest in a couple laps time if that 38 closes the gap up to him? And it could be the 88 as well, because Bauman's also starting to run a little bit better than Benson, so that could be a battle for second here before they ever catch up to Schumacher. But all the while, Shuey continuing to do his part. If a caution flag waves, it might not be the worst thing. But could we see some possible split strategies? once more. There's a look at Benson, who that time was even with Schumacher, so they've now leveled on lap time, so there's no significant advantage here to the 38 right now. And there's Bauman. Those are the two nearest threats to your race leader, as there's the battle for 5th going on further back. Colin Forster, Duncan Fall with the crossover move off of 4. Gets to the inside. And a strong move on the outside by Forster, as Justin Rott has joined the party in 7th after that pit road speeding penalty. If he can come back to a top 5, that'd be great for the 76. And they have pulled away from 8th place now Craig Lautzlager, and 9th place JJ Hill. Good recovery here for JJ, as AJ Green has fallen back to 11th. Not sure if this is damage or if the tires have gone off on the 75. But it has not been ideal for AJ Green. There's Curtis Kelly trying to make up after what has been a struggle night, but Belsha, if he can get past the 75, we'll see if he's able to catch up to the 14 of Bishop and his teammate JJ Hill. He was ahead of those guys, so I'm not sure what happened here at the 18 machine. And here's a big battle here just inside the top 20 between Trevor Haley, Tyler Murray, Kenneth Bueno. Numerous trucks here, all well off the pace after being involved in that massive pileup as previously mentioned. And you can tell how many cars are not just damaged, but equally damaged. So much so that you have a tighter battle from 16th on back than everyone else on the field. And Haley, with a poor exit, has to give way to Murray on the outside. He'll give away to everybody, as a couple cars and trucks nearly slap the outside wall, but that gives the 16 the advantage in front of the 117. Hastings sliding the rear of his truck with Craig Parks now. There's Chris Progar now to the outside of Haley. He'll take that spot as Bueno peeked to the inside momentarily. And if they can catch up to Michael Walls, it'll be a top 15 effort for whoever gets there first. There's AJ Green, Curtis Kelly battling for position. Belsha seems to have fallen off. He just doesn't have the pace in the truck. He'll have Michael Newbraw on his tail soon. But the gap up front is starting to shrink down to 2 seconds. Is the gap between 1 and 2? Does Schumacher have anything left in his truck, in his tires? Benson running that outside lane is able to carry a lot of momentum. Can Benson save his tires enough as well to have anything to battle with that lap? 2/10 quicker than your race leader. The gap down to 1.8 seconds. Your leader had some lap traffic in Mikey Neal, but otherwise, does he have the tires or the laps on his side to hold off Benson? Bauman not yet matching what the 38 is doing. We saw Bauman have a better opportunity at making passes later in the run than Benson did, who struggled to get past AJ Green. But we also know Benson's aggressive. It has been a while since we've seen him in victory lane in any series we cover, especially the 4-wide series after a winless season 7. It might not be the same one, but if he's able to take the win here tonight, it'll possibly give him some momentum going into Wednesday night's opener, where I'll be rolling off on the front row of the field. How exciting that'll be Wednesday night to jump from the booth up here to being on the racetrack for the final showdown of Speed Weeks. Oh man. How about tomorrow? I am not ready for year 24 to start. But it is a wild end to the month of August as Bauman tags the wall. Could have been a lot worse for the 88 there as he keeps it going in the right direction, loses a bit of time. And it does not look like he'll put up much of a challenge to your race leaders. Jurgensmeyer is running faster laps than both your top 2 right now, as he is pulling away from Rott. But the gap up front continues to shrink nearly 0.2 of a second at a time. Schumacher approaching 26 laps to go. Will feel like some of the 26 longest laps if Benson's able to continue this up. can visually see the gap closing with every ticking lap. And that actually goes through your mind as well if you are Alex Schumacher. There's no way it doesn't. You see the gap closing, you see the gap closing, and he knows it too. He knows he used the tires up on the early side of that run. But he got the gap. He was probably hoping for a caution flag or something. And he hasn't gotten it. For Benson though, when he catches up there, does he have the tires as well to make that pass? We saw him struggle to make the pass earlier. Will lap traffic present the opportunity for the 38 to get past the 68? At the rate they're going before this race is over, they will catch that group of 6 lap trucks that's currently being led by Kenneth Bueno, or actually Michael Walls. So they'll have a lot of lap traffic to deal with at the end of the race. You can see numerous trucks actually further up the road. That is not that same group. As the gap now under a second between your top two, as more lap trucks are being caught. That's Trevor Haley, Daytona winner. He'll stay up high. As Schumacher runs the middle, Haley tags the wall, but it does not impact the 68. Now it'll be Benson's turn to try and get past here. And anything that can help Schumacher maintain this gap or force the 38 to use up his tires will be a net gain for him. But that high side momentum in 3 and 4 is really helping Benson. As he'll now peak to the bottom on Trevor Haley. He'll clear him before corner exit. That'll be a huge help for the 38. But the question is, when will he get there? Because it is going to be a matter of time. He's been able to run that outside lane to perfection. When does Schumacher decide to jump up there, test the waters, before he has to actually fend off the 38? Another chunk, nearly 2/10. Taken out of your race leader's advantage by the 38 of Benson. Down to almost half a second. Approaching 19 laps to go, and he is up there ripping the boards. Searching for any kind of grip late in this run. The tires over 40 laps. And Schumacher with a poor turn 1 and 2. That's really going to allow Benson to close the gap. And look how much more speed he's able to carry. As he'll have the run here on the front straightaway, Schumacher will give him the outside. And as he keeps his bottom lane availability, he'll try to gas it up on exit. Nearly put the 38 into the wall, but that's the pass for the race lead. Kyle Benson out front. And there's the pass for third. Justin Rott has had a masterful final run, and he is running faster laps than both your race leaders. But does he have the time to catch up to Benson to make it 2 wins in a row? They still have lap traffic to deal with before this race is over, and that could play a huge role. Despite Benson taking over the race lead and putting on 4/10 on Schumacher, Justin Rott may not be done. 2/10 quicker than Benson on that lap. Does the channel lock Ford F-150 have anything in these final 15 laps to hold off a potential charge from third place runner Justin Rott, who's now only 1.4 seconds back? Continues to be 2/10 of a second each lap by the 76 after having that pit road penalty. He'll first have to get around the 68 of Schumacher. And even Juergensmeyer starting to run quick. The top 4 are starting to accordion up. Nicholas Bauman's getting left in the dust for 5th place. Craig Lauenslager has done a masterful job of being able to hang on to 6th after the huge damage on his race truck. As here's the pass for 2nd. Rott peeks to the inside. Schumacher will give him the lane. And look at how much more speed Rott is able to carry in the corner. 68 used up everything she had. And this long run not working in his favor, as he went for it, hoping that there would be a caution. And now Juergensmeyer will have the run. He'll have to go to the inside. But the gap up front sits at 1 second. And there's the lap traffic in front of Kyle Benson. They are side by side. And that is going to be the 2 of Chris Fowler and Jason Hastings, the first trucks he'll catch. And a blinking Tyler Murray, who's fallen down to 18th. And approaching 11 laps to go, Justin Rott now 0.8 of a second behind the 38. He has the time. The traffic will be there. Who plays this the right way? There's the visual gap between your top 2 runners as Rott has cut it down to 0.6 of a second. The high side being ran by the 2 of Fowler, which is the line Benson wants to run in 3 and 4. Fowler strikes the wall, keeps it up there, nearly comes down in front of Justin Rott, but look at the gap being closed. That hurt the 38 a little bit. And they're going to have more traffic to deal with here. Continuing to use the outside to his advantage. With now 9 laps to go. He'll have 2 trucks in front of him before catching another set of trucks before the checkered flag. Murray's into the wall. They're side by side in front of Benson. Does Benson force it 3 wide, or does he play it patient? He doesn't have much of a choice here with Rott catching. He'll enter behind Murray to the outside. He'll split them through the middle. He'll try to at least. Rott is there. Benson to the bottom of Murray. Rott will try to go to the outside of Benson. Benson will slide up on exit, and there goes Rott to the inside. He'll slide up, make a little bit of contact. But Justin Rott, after a pit road penalty, fighting for this race win with 7 laps to go. And he'll take the race lead away. Does Benson have anything to try and contest with? Or did we see the last of the 38? Just doesn't have the same amount of tire, it seems, as Justin Rott, as they go to the inside of AJ Green, who was in the top 5 on that last restart. Still more lap trucks to deal with before the checkered flag. Michael Walls, possibly Keelan Belsh and Kenneth Bueno before it's all said and done for the 76. And that is a teammate overall up ahead, so don't expect too much of a fight by Walls to Rott. Benson's trying not to give up, but it might just be not enough for the 38. You see him trying everything he can. He'll get to the outside of Walls and is going to be able to get past. But that 38 truck is getting smaller and smaller behind the 76. If no caution comes out in the next 2 laps, that is all Justin Rott needs to go back to back. After dominating the early part, Schumacher's down to 6th outside the top 5. Lauslager has driven his way up into 4th. What a showing of resilience it's been for the 78. As Benson loses the front end there. He'll lose more time now. 2 laps to go. And the caution flag waves. With 2 laps to go, coming to the white flag, the yellow flag waves, and it is Nicholas Baumann and Michael Newbraw in trouble. Oh my goodness. Unreal. With half a lap until the white flag, this is the last thing that Justin Rott wanted to see. And let's take a look at what caused this incident. There's Baumann in front of Schumacher. The lap truck of Chris Fowler enters the corner too deep. Looks like Baumann had nowhere to go. Oh man. Here's another look at it from Baumann's on board. The 2 shoots up the track, they make contact, and that's it. And yeah, definitely gonna expect everybody on pit road after 60 laps nearly on those tires. Let's see if anybody gambles. I doubt it, but we've seen stranger things before. And there it is. There's the gamble. Schumacher to the race lead. A 2-tire call to take the race lead. Oh my. There's the gamble we were looking for. He burnt those tires off. Was fighting a tight condition. Those right sides will help free him up. He'll have the restart advantage for the launch on a green-white checkered restart, but will he have the grip for the final 6 corners to win this race? He's driven away on restarts before, but everybody was worried about saving tires. Nobody is going to be saving tires this time, as we'll have 1 to green on a race that has just turned itself upside down, and it might not be over. We'll enter overtime here. We have 3 attempts at overtime. If the caution flag comes out before the white flag, we'll rack them up and do it again. If we reach the white flag under green, the race will be decided no matter what at the checkered flag. If after 3 attempts a caution flag were to come out, the race will end on that final attempt, and whoever's the leader wins the race, much like at Daytona. This is attempt number 1. It'll be Alexander Schumacher, who's dominated on all night long, fell back on that long run with a 2-tire call to take the race lead. The pace truck gets off of pit road.
Green flag, green flag.
There it is. He struggles to get the tires going, but he does clear to turn 1. And there's Jurgensmeyer loose, sideways. They're all stacking it up behind. Everybody dealing with the cold tires. 3 and 4 wide, and the caution flag waves. Trouble at the very back for AJ Green and Trevor Haley. Or Mikey Neal, excuse me. That was the dream restart for Schumacher. He had such a gap, he was hoping to get to the white flag. But we'll enter our 2nd attempt of the restart. And it looks like there was more trouble, rather than the ones we saw. So we'll just have to properly find those incidents. Try our best to find that for you. As it appears it was possibly the 53. Craig Parks, the first to go sideways. So there's the restart. There's the 53, that gray truck on the inside. Tries to stay off Belsha, gets sideways. Newbraw gets sideways into the wall. Nearly collects Kenneth Bueno, but does collect Chris Progar. AJ Green slides into it late, but Progar and Parks will get the worst of it. As we're back under the yellow flag for attempt number 2 at overtime. And it'll still be Alex Schumacher out front. This time, though, Duncan Fall was able to creep up into second place after not getting sideways. I think that deserves a second look, is that restart and how sideways the leaders got. We were paying attention to the wreck, obviously, but let's look back at the restart all the way back from the initial launch, because it was not a great launch. From Shuey, he had the right idea, but then right about there, you can see the tires not really giving him all that grip. He gets clear, and you were starting to see that grip show a difference, but cold tires struck. With those warm left sides, he was able to get off better. Rott nearly tags the outside wall. Jurgensmeyer was loose. That really hurt the 78 of Lautenschlager, who had nowhere to go. And then by the time the yellow flag waves, it was Fall that crept up into the second place position. And just like that, the lights are out on the pace truck, and we'll be getting ready for our second green-white checkered attempt. Schumacher, Fall, Jurgensmeyer, Bauman, JJ Hill in the top 5 for what could be the final restart of this race. Into the restart zone, Schumacher goes. It's a little bit of a better launch for him this time. They'll be side by side for second. They might not get loose this time now that they got that mini start underway, but it's still a great launch for Shuey. As he clears off of turn 2, Jurgensmeyer gets clear for second. And we'll see if Bauman plays a charge. Jurgensmeyer is going to have one opportunity to try and make this work. Coming off of turn 4, white flag for Alex Schumacher. Duncan Fall is nearly up to the outside wall, but Jonathan Jurgensmeyer unable to do anything. He'll have Fall to contend with. One last chance. To turn 3 and 4, the grip is not enough. First career win for Alexander Schumacher comes at the Rock. An unbelievable recovery after burning the tires off, takes the 2-tire risk, and for the first time this season, it'll be Alexander Schumacher taking the race win.
He crashed it.
And Shuey will celebrate it very fittingly. Probably did not expect this entering the night, but the odds were in his favor tonight, much like on that race car. And he'll celebrate this one all night long. A race win for Alexander Schumacher. It's going to be a popular win among the garage. And as Shuey celebrates it here on the front straightaway, we'll get you the finishing results from tonight's showdown from the Rock. As I myself am at a loss for words at that final stretch. So there he is. He parks it into victory lane. And there is our finishing results from tonight's race. Alex Schumacher takes the race win here from the Rockingham Speedway, with Jonathan Jurgensmeyer just coming up short in the second place spot. Duncan Fall comes away with a excellent podium result with Justin Rott finishing in 4th after nearly having that race win coming to the white flag. Nicholas Bauman recovers to the top 5. JJ Hill with a fantastic 6th place effort here tonight with the damage on his race truck. Colin Forster will finish in 7th. Christopher Bishop in 8th. Kenneth Bueno recovers nicely to finish it in the top 10 for the first time this season. Craig Lautenslugger will round out your top 10. 11th will go to Curtis Kelly in the number 87. Michael Newbrawl will finish in 12th. Keelan Belsha in 3rd. Kyle Benson, unfortunately, down in 14th after the late showdown. AJ Green in 15th. Michael Walls in 16th. Chris Fowler and Mikey Neal round out your lead lap finishers. Tyler Murray, the first one, a lap down in 19th. Trevor Haley with a poor result here tonight in the 20th spot. 21st goes to Stephen Maggio after being involved in the early incident. Will finish 21st, one lap down. Jason Hastings will finish 22nd. Craig Parks will finish 23rd. Chris Progar in 24th. Cody Spare 25th. Jamie Wright, your pole sitter, will finish in the 26th spot. 27th goes to Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Tony Kivett in 28th. Brandon Banks in 29th. And rounding out our 30 truck field from tonight here at the Rock is Eric Schaefer, who got DQ'd for the intentional incident on lap number 6. Well, I think he's ready. He's been ready for a long time. It's been, I don't know how many years since it's been a league win for Alexander Schumacher, and it has never happened in a broadcasted league. But get ready. Prepare yourselves for what is bound to be one of the most entertaining interviews of all time. Alexander Schumacher, before tonight began, I can assure you, you can assure yourself, this was probably not the result you had in mind when you were coming into this race, but you are here in victory lane. Talk us through the race.
Oh man, that just unbelievable. Just I qualified really good up front early in the race. I just made sure to run the fast line. I knew it was gonna evolve. This is a driver's track, and just that first run, I had some speed early. Just the fast guys were on the bottom, and I just took note of that and just stuck it to the bottom, capitalized, and just used the outside to pass. Just sit on the bottom as long as you can, and just tires had about a 40 to 45 lap lifespan. Uh, Guys behind me were catching me at the end of that run, and then uh, uh, we had an incident right in front of me early in the race that could have taken me out. Just getting on the brakes and having everyone check up behind me is so crucial, man. And just coming to that final run, just I was 3 seconds up, man. Just thinking something didn't feel right. I knew I wasn't naturally that quick, and should have been saving fuel. And the guys behind me did. So once they got into the green light, they pushed, and it was a really just sad couple laps just watching that result slip away. Just saying, dang it, the right thing to do was just to save. And I learned now that 3 laps is nothing too crazy. Just save it early and build it in the end. But coming to that end, I was really just so disappointed that a great result, great race was just going to come to an end just like that because I didn't feel safe. And then the caution happened right in front of me. It just an act of God. I don't know what happened. Just it was just insane. Uh, Coming to pit road P6, and I put 2 tires on. Just that's just an absolute hail mary. Just no other way to describe it. Just everyone else was going to take 4, and I knew I was going to be the first one on 2, and that's just my only chance, man. Just my only chance to get there and to be up front and try to take it back. And it's just unbelievable, man. I just did not think it was going to happen like this. Just to get a win like this means so much. Just it's been years in the making for a win like this. Just to step away from owning a league to finally finally after many months of racing to get that first win. It feels so good, man. It makes it so worthwhile. I'm at a loss of words. I mean, I'm gonna tearing up right now just thinking about it. It's unbelievable.
It's going to be a long night, Chewy, and it is definitely worth it. I mean, I can attest from the many messages that we have messaged each other throughout the years on these close opportunities. So I think I have one of the best hands-on knowledge of knowing just how much this means to you and knowing how close you've been on many occasions. But now that you've done this, that you've led 93 laps in tonight's race, that you were put in a position like that, that you had to save those tires, and like you said, it just wasn't there for you. You fell back, got that lucky break, and then decided to go for the all-time Hail Mary of the two tires at the Rock, and not just working one restart, but having to work through two restarts, and you managed to hang on. What was going through your mind in those overtime restarts after you made your decision? Because I can assure you that most likely you were thinking, "Oh man, these tires, man, they're gonna have a good chance."
I wanted to play wild card, just they had to go around me, and if they were gonna drive through me, it was gonna be a pretty big scene. I just put them all in a bad spot, made them all play patient with each other, which they they weren't gonna do. Obviously, they all wanted to race each other and be the first one to the front. It's just after taking two tires, that first restart, Justin was able to be on my door. I felt like that's just it's a perfect example of two versus four. I mean, I didn't have any wheel spin. My truck just didn't get as good of a launch as he did. And then obviously when I sent it down on the corner, I felt it immediately. I looked at my mirror and just saw them closing, and they checked up, and there was an incident right behind me. And it's just one lucky break after another. It just feels good to be lucky for once and to be on the right side. Just the speed, the consistency, everything all came together tonight. And everyone around me drove incredibly respectful. We drove really hard. We gave each other a fair shot, and it's just an absolute amazing thing to have the race go my way, to have it finish like this, and then most importantly to take it all home. It's just unreal. I mean, you work hard. I gotta wake. My day start at 6 a.m. every day, and it's just some of these races you just go to bed on with a really negative thought, just kind of wondering why you spent so much time, and then you just keep putting your head down. You just keep showing up. You keep racing for the results, to learn, to get better, and it feels so good to have it finally just all come together. It's so rewarding. It's just this is why we race. It's been a couple years of racing full time, and it feels so good to see that Unk still got it.
Great reference there, Shuey. The stars finally align for you, and it is going to be a fantastic night and several nights and weeks in this victory lane before it starts to wear out. But before we let you go, Shuey, anybody you want to thank for putting this all together for you and your 68 team?
I want to shout out the KBRN Trucks team for putting on such a great race. Uh, Going to Rockingham, such a great track with the conditions. So shout out to the staff at the KBRN Trucks. Uh, Shout out to BBR. Shout out to my teammates for an incredible opportunity to be here and drive underneath BBR, the BBR banner and BBR colors. It's just incredible to finally add to that win total, and to just see my name finally added to that list of legendary winners in BBR. Uh, like shout out my family, mom, dad, sisters, my buddy Tyler, Logan. I know you guys will all be watching the stream on replay tomorrow, or sometime soon in the future. So thank you guys for supporting and watching. I really appreciate you. Uh, and thanks to everyone for just teaching me everything, and having me welcome me back into racing and treating me so well. It's truly a great experience, and a moment like this will truly never be forgotten. And it's why we go for it on fourth downs. It's why we never give up. It's the exact reason why you just keep putting your head down. You just keep working hard, because eventually it will come.
Working in that Dan Campbell mindset. I love it, Chewy. Congratulations on your first career KBRN Truck Series win, and we hope to see you out there next week. Congratulations.
Thank you, Francisco. It means a lot.
And there's Alexander Schumacher, very emotional and rightly so. It has been a strugglesome years for him on the sim, and to have this race win, I'm sure is going to be a popular one with many folks. We'll move back down one position now to the runner-up finisher in tonight's race. That is Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. And Jonathan, you definitely looked like you had a quick truck here tonight, mostly top five throughout the different variety of strategies that were going on throughout the evening. But right there, the two tires worked for Alex Schumacher, and you were the first one on four. Kind of talk us through your overall race perspective, and then just kind of walk us through your decision on the four tires and what those overtime restarts were like.
Yeah, I thought I was probably a top to probably like about fourth to fifth best truck all race. I did qualify well, and I decided I'm just gonna do everything I can to get the lead, and I got the lead for a little bit, and then eventually Ethan and Steven got by me on that first run, and then Steven stayed out on that one restart, and it really checked me up, and it made me kind of correct into Ethan and wreck him a little bit, but I mean, I repaired all that damage, and then we got to that final run, and I mean, me and Justin just drove through the field. I had to save a little bit of gas, so Justin was just so much better on that last run, and it really does suck for him. So, um, yeah, and then on that last restart, I mean, I was gonna take 4 tires every day of the week on that last restart. I didn't think 2 tires would work. I thought Chewy would be so much slower than he was. He held up really well. On that first restart, I thought it was about a wreck, and then on that second restart, I decided to cool it down a little bit and stay in the fight. So, and then on that last restart, I mean, I don't think there's much more I could have done. I mean, I ran the fast lap on the last lap, and Chewy just did a good job hanging on. I'm shocked that 2 tires worked in the truck, but hats off to him for a good decision.
The other side of the fourth down, a Hail Mary there by Shuey. But Jonathan, it's been a great start for you this season so far. You've had some really great races so far. You were contending last week for the race win. You were contending at Daytona. So now that we're 3 races into this young season and we start getting into the meatier part of the schedule, if you will, with the road course coming up very soon, we know that you're very consistent, but what are going to be your goals as you look at a race like Nashville next week, for example, and Charlotte in the next couple of weeks, which is more traditional intermediate tracks, which consist of most of the schedule?
I mean, you just gotta stay in the fight. I mean, we saw today Chewy wasn't the fastest, but he stayed in the fight. He kept his cool when he fell off on that run, and it resulted in a win. And I mean, Justin did the same thing at Las Vegas, and Trevor did the same thing at Daytona. So I mean, you just keep your head in the game in these races, and you'll end up with a shot at the end. And I mean, on the last restart, I was telling Duncan just be cool and don't overcook it. Just keep yourself in the fight and don't take yourself out of it. And I mean, that's what he did. That's what I try and that's why I try to keep my head on when I'm racing. So I mean, a lot of these tracks coming up, uh, we got Nashville and Charlotte, and then we got some real wild cards. So I'm really excited for those races.
It's going to be a lot of fun the month of September here on the KBueno Racing Network, not just here and in four wide as well, Jonathan, and even in SAC as we enter the playoffs here soon. But and before we let you go, after the second place result here tonight, anybody you want to give a shout out to that helps makes this happen for you and your 00 truck machine?
Shout out to KBRN and BBR. Shout out to Justin, Duncan, Ethan, everyone that was racing. I had a great time today, and I'm excited for next week.
Congratulations on your top 3 effort here tonight, Jonathan, and we hope to see you out there next week at Nashville.
Yep, thank you.
Runner-up finisher tonight, Jonathan Jorgensmeyer, with a continued solid effort in the standings so far. As we'll move back one more position onto the third step of the podium, and that'll be Duncan Fall. And Duncan, you were respectably in the top 5 and 10 for a decent portion of the race. I'm not sure late in that last run that you thought it was going to be a top 3 effort, but after the overtime restarts and the mayhem, it was a third place at the end of the night. So just talk us through your overall race perspective, but also what the mindset was in those late overtime restarts.
Yeah, well, just throughout the race, I was just trying to be conservative and save my tires. I was being cautious because of the first few wrecks that happened, and then going on to the overtime, really didn't want to see it at first. Uh, I figured, something would happen with Shui staying out. I figured he would have a bad restart or something and cause a wreck, similar to what happened with Jamie earlier in the race. But I got to give it to him. He did pretty good. He handled it well. I don't know how he won that. That was crazy though.
It was an insane move that got him the win, Duncan, and this is your best result of the young season so far after consisting of Daytona, Vegas, and now the Rockingham Speedway, which are three completely different racetracks. But we also have still yet to remain completely different racetracks. Nashville is its own proper style of racetrack before we get back to the more traditional mile and a half at Charlotte. And then, like Jonathan put it, a couple of wild cards with Montreal and Knoxville up in the mix. So as we move into September here, what is going to be the idea for you in terms of what are you trying to do for playoff pushes when you know that these are the racetracks you have in front of you?
Currently it's looking pretty good. I think I just checked and I'm the points leader, which very shocking. That's the first time this happened for me in a league. But just looking throughout the rest of the schedule, I'm just gonna have to put in a lot of practice. And there's a few tracks that I haven't been good at. I see Knoxville is on the schedule, so I'm excited about that. It's definitely a wild card, but I have pretty good experience on the dirt. I'm a big fan of dirt racing, so that's one pinpoint for me on the schedule.
Looking forward to that dirt race in September. But before we let you go, Duncan, after your podium finish here tonight, anybody you want to give a shout out to that helps makes this happen for you and your 16 team?
Shout out to everybody who's in the Discord call with me. Uh, Justin, congrats on the fourth. Jerg, congrats on second. Micah, he had or Micah and Ethan, they had some pretty tough races there. Shout out to all of them. No, that's about all.
We appreciate the time you take with us, Duncan. Congratulations on your podium finish here tonight from Rockingham. Congratulations on being the point leader unofficially as the points are being updated by Keelan Belsha. And we hope to see you out at Nashville next week.
Thank you. See you there.
Duncan Fall, third place finisher tonight from Rockingham, will assume the points lead per the points from Keelan Belshow. And that will be our top three finishers from tonight from Rockingham. So, wow. Still in all of the victory from Alexander Schumacher. It definitely was on the bottom side of the uh, odds on the expectations list, but that's why these races mean so much. They matter because you just never know until the checkered flag. It was Justin Roth's race to lose, and unfortunately for him, it was the yellow flag that came out late that resulted in the win not going in his favor. So that'll leave us with a moment to recap here just exactly what went down. So it was a dominant effort from Alexander Schumacher, but by no means, even he told us that it didn't look like he was the fastest truck. He was certainly one of them. He was able to jump out there and lead all those laps, but on the long run was struggling a lot, fell down to sixth. And before that yellow flag came out and bolted on those two tires and showed everybody that it can work. So I think drivers will look at that and think, okay, maybe we just might have to try this out at some point or not, and it could definitely make for some interesting finishes down the line and up and down the running order. As a matter of fact, there's all sorts of bright spots to look at. You look at J.J. Hill with the sixth place finish, Kenneth Bueno with his first top 10 of the season, Craig Lounslock recovered nicely for 10th. Numerous stories up and down the running order of how great their nights were, and then a couple of others that maybe it just wasn't the night there be. You look at Steven Maggio outside the top 20. Ethan Fonseca Moreno had the early trouble. Pole sitter Jamie Wright. It's just not the night for a couple of these drivers, and that's just the way it is as we'll move on to the Music City next time out. So it'll be exciting stuff that we'll get to cover here on the KBRN Truck Series as you'll get a look at it on the screen now. We have just completed the Rockingham racetrack here on August 25th before moving to Nashville, Charlotte. We'll have the road course at Montreal September 15th. That'll be exciting to cover the first and only road course on the schedule for season number 1 here. And then we go to Knoxville Speedway, which will have a different style of race there, different setup of the session and all that sort of good stuff to set up the midway point of the season. Back to back, Montreal and Knoxville. It'll be fun before we head on to the final home stretch before the playoffs, which will be Pocono, Darlington, and Auto Club. So as we begin to move into September, playoffs will already start to ringing into your mind, even though it'll only be race number 4. But before you know it, October 27th at Chicagoland, we'll be opening up our inaugural playoff run of 5 races, and you see exactly where those races will be. So really exciting. Can't wait for it, and it's going to be a fun ride, as this is race number 3 of the season in the books. It's Alexander Schumacher that was able to take the race win away in stunning fashion, beating all the odds in order to do so. On behalf of everybody on the KBueno Racing Truck series from Kenneth Bueno, Keelan Belsha, Charlie Byer, all the admin group of the team, as well as here on the KBueno Racing Network from everybody that makes this happen on the broadcasting effort from Kenneth Bueno, Charlie Byer, Keelan Belsha, Eli Comerford, Nate Polite. My name is Francisco Bacayao. Thank you for tuning in with us all night, even with the early connection issues on my part. But we were able to turn out a great show, and it has been fantastic to bring you some Rockingham Speedway action. Appreciate everything from everybody who's been able to watch the show here with us here tonight. If you want to tune in for more action on the KBueno Racing Network, be sure to join us Wednesday night for the opener of the 4 Wide Racing TJ's Team Series from Daytona. We'll have that coverage for you just after 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday night, August 27th. We'll also have SAC Cup Series action on August 28th. And also, we'll be having the we'll also be having some more racing next week from Nashville, September 1st at the exact same time, just around the 8:20 p.m. Eastern time. So, once again, thank you to everybody on the KBRN Truck Series admin team, to everybody on the KBueno Racing Network. Once again, thanking Charlie Byer, Keelan Belsha, Nate Polite, Eli Comerford, from the owner and main guy, Kenneth Bueno. My name is Francisco Bacayao, saying so long and good night. Congratulations to Alexander Schumacher one final time as the series moves to the Music City for some rock and roll fun.